Hey everybody, I just wanted to talk about letting go and when to let go. That can apply to a lot of different things. I think for me, that could look like relationships, and when it's time to let go of those relationships. It can look like career, it can look like sports or anything like that. When is it time, and how do you know when it's time to let go of things? Yeah, I've been kind of going through this time at the moment where I've graduated high school and have kind of been taking like almost a gap year. Yeah, I'd say a gap year of figuring out where I want to be in life, right? And there's a lot of things that I do in the moment. Like I go to the gym a lot. I really like to write. I like to, you know, play sports, hang out with friends, and do all this sort of stuff. I have the problem of doing too much and overwhelming myself with too much. Yeah, as of I'd say probably a couple to several months ago, I had one of my first like big burnouts, and I was just doing way too much. I was trying to hang out with all my friends. I was trying to make the most amount of connections for work and everything, and it got to me. And I thought I could, go through it all, go to sleep, but I would just be doing way too much. And so I think that's a good example of, okay, I definitely need to like let some things go. But letting go doesn't necessarily mean completely dropping what you're doing. Like let's say, like for me, I think a big thing at the moment is friends. I love hanging out with friends, and I used to hang out with my friends. Like I'd have like two hangouts a day, and then I'd be hanging out with someone the next day, and then I'd have a day off, and then I'd hang out with them again, right? That's all good and fun, but I think what I had to do is with what I want to do in life, with balancing career, with balancing family, and my sports and everything. It's like I have to figure out a way to hang out with friends a little less, as much as I really did not want to do that. And it kind of sucked as I kind of kept going. I Without those hangouts, I felt a lot better, and I was like, it's kind of weird because it's you have this thing that you love so dearly, and you kind of have to let go to have room to breathe and to take some time to yourself, and to each their own. Like some people just like are so extroverted, and it's impossible to live without a community. And so it might look a little different for you, where you're finding you're a little lonely and you actually want to hang out with more people. And so you could go to some events in your community. You can hang out, go play basketball at your local field and just talk to people there, right? There's a balance to things, and I think you have to let go of something once you realize there's an imbalance and something isn't right. And then you got to face the fact of, okay, what are my values? Like, what am I trying to go for in life? I'm a believer and follower of Christ, and so that's my number one value. Am I glorifying God, right? If through the things I do, and if I'm not, I should drop those things, right? Like I used to be really addicted to screens or just doing things in secret. Like I had a big lust problem for the longest time, and so I would fall into these bad habits and these sins, right? But it was weird because it was like I was living two different worlds, right? Where yeah, I'm following the values of Christ. I'm doing all the things a good Christian should do: read his Bible, read the Bible, go to church, talk to people about Jesus, right? And I was doing all those things, but I was also adding this additional stuff, and additional gunk that I didn't need. And so I had to face the fact: okay, what do I really want in life? I did the most I could and surround myself. Like in terms of lust, I think you really just need to surround yourself with like a good community, have someone who has gone through it or is kind of like in the same boat as you, but also someone who's farther ahead and who has been free from those lustful desires for a long time. It's good to have a mix of both. From then on, like I've been doing pretty good. But what I'm trying to say is, you know when to let go when things go wrong or things are cluttered and there's just too much. But I think the harder part of letting go is letting go before things get too rough, right? And just being super aware of the situation you're in and the things you're doing in life. Is what I'm doing in life a valuable thing, and is it gonna to help me throughout the future? So I think it's important to have, like, I like this metaphor of you're in a car and there's the rear view mirror. It's important to look at the rear view mirror, especially when you're making a turn, when you're making a decision in life that's a little bigger. It's important to look at the back and see, is there anything that I need to deal with first, or is there an oncoming vehicle that I have to wait for or just speed up to? And then, but you never look, you don't always look in that rearview mirror. You still have to keep your eyes on the front. So I want to say, with the future and the present, focus on the present, but also anchor yourself in a place where you want to be in the future. And you can do that by figuring out what you're doing in life, and is that going to put me in the right direction of where I want to go. For me, eating junk food. I still eat junk food from time to time, but I don't eat it as much as I used to. And so by positioning myself in a place where I'm like, I'll have a little bit of junk food, not as much as I used to, it'll actually help me long term, because now I think, you know, as I get older and as those things actually do start to affect me, because I don't think eating junk food at the moment really does. But once it does, I have this habit of, I'm still eating pretty healthy, and I can have that junk food from time to time, right? Now I know, okay, hey, like, that was a pretty good investment. And so letting go of things, you know when to let go of them when you see the bigger picture. When you look at, what is this going to look like for me in the next 10 years? Or even the next year, right? Is what I'm doing in my life going to benefit future me? Or is it going to, go against future me? And I think that's the question everybody should face when trying to let go of things. So I hope that was valuable to you guys. If it was, please consider subscribing. I will talk about all this kind of fun stuff, just growing up in life, and kind of just talking about my life, really, almost like a vlog. If you want vlogs, by the way, let me know, and I would love to make them. Thank you so much for watching, and hope you have a good day.